Hi there, it's Diane, and I wanted to do a review on something special that I went to, and I think you'll enjoy it. And maybe perhaps for next year you might plan to do something of this nature. I went to the Easter sunrise service at Forest Lawn in Cypress, and this is the third sunrise service that I've ever been to. My mother sings in the Southern California Mormon choir, and so when she goes to sing for a sunrise service somewhere, they combine with other community type choirs. This time they sang alone. One time we went to the Hollywood Bowl, another time we were at the Rose Hills, I think, in Glendale, and then this time we were in a Forest Lawn Cypress. And so here's my review. Of course, I went really early because I came to support somebody who was singing, and so it was, of course, it was pitch black. We left at about, I think we left around 4 in the morning, and you know, for as crazy as that might sound, I'm telling you, by the time the service is over and the sun rises, you look back, and I sit in the very, very front because I was the first one there. And I turned around and I looked back, and the whole place was packed. And I think one of the other people who we rode with, who was also singing in the choir, she said she counted about 600 people. So while everybody else was sleeping, at this one place, there were, 60 or 70, 75 people in the choir, and then there were the whole lawn was full of people. And I wanted to pay homage to the man who works for Forest Lawn Cypress, and I don't know what his name is, or when he's there, what his regular job is, if he's the caretaker or whatever he is. But they had made a little announcement that this man who was running around all over that morning, that was his 42nd consecutive Easter sunrise service. 42 years he's been planning that and executing it, and it was nearly flawless. I just couldn't believe all the attention to detail that one person could make, and he obviously perfected it over such time. I mean, to the little the little details like this. When you got this, there was a little paper towel inside to wipe your seat with, because they were damp, having been set up the night before. There was a big configuration of Easter lilies on the front by the steps, in the shape of a cross. And he said that every one of the choir members could take one of those home with them. And what a wonderful thing for the people in the choir who sacrifice. No one pays them to do that. They get up in the crack of, not even at the crack of dawn before that. They get up in the middle of the night. It was like 3 o'clock when, my mom called me, okay, time to get up and get ready. And they just selflessly go and sing to, give praise to their Lord on Easter morning. It was so amazing. And they sang in front of, there's a great mural there that was just up right behind where they were singing, and it was of the Ascension. And so what an appropriate setting for them talking about, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and they're singing right in front of this amazing thing. The sound was unequaled. It was so good. The way they had the microphone set up, I could hear I could hear coughing. I could hear every little breath. The piano was magnificent with its sound, how they were practicing the sound. And I made a special point on my way out to thank the sound guy, because it made such a difference in making sure that even if you were in the clear back on the lawn, that you could hear everything and the amazing singing. The choir was just angelic. Just angelic. They sang. I think my favorite number was the Hallelujah chorus by Handel, where of course everybody's standing, and the other preachers that were there gave interesting talks. One man gave a story that it was like, what are you talking about? He likened Jesus Christ to what he called this rag man, and this rag man would exchange all these filthy rags for clean linens, and having, I just don't, I have a very grave respect for Jesus Christ, and to have him likened to something called a rag man, it wasn't really offensive. I wouldn't say it was offensive, but I think it was inappropriate and ill-placed on Easter morning. So it was interesting. I think it's a great thing to be with people of different faiths at a time like Easter. When we come together, we're unified in that we honor the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and to see all the different kinds of people that were there and to be unified in that, I think, was a beautiful thing. And it was also interesting to hear the different kinds of, there were many different kinds of worship. And this was one where I think there were 4 different denominations that were represented in this community event, and that, I think, is always a good thing. It was beautiful. The cemetery itself, where it was held, was in really great shape. I was really impressed at how lovely it was. The one thing I was kind of bummed about, they have, I don't know if you can see this little, logo that they have in front of their the big gates and everything down there. They're usually they're like these cranes that have these fountains, and they're just like spewing out, and it's just beautiful, and they weren't working. Boo! They weren't working. I really was looking forward to seeing those amazing fountains, and the water was kind of icky, and I thought, boo, why aren't they, why isn't that why is it in disrepair, or why isn't it working? So if I was going to improve anything, I would say, get that fountain working. But everything else about it was stellar. And there was one other part that was such a treat. Oh my gosh, that there was a certain part during the Hallelujah chorus where these 2 on either side behind the choir, all these doves were released. All these beautiful white doves, and hearing the flutter of their wings and listening to the other birds that flew in and swooped in to hear the singing, that was really kind of a special moment as the sun was coming up, and hearing the birds twitter and chirp. And I was grateful that I had made the sacrifice to be there. And it was a free service, and there are things like this in your community that will totally enrich your life. In this case, yeah, you miss a little bit of sleep, but and what you get in return is just a great feeling. Then we came home, and then we went to church after that. But I think that this was worthy of reviewing, if nothing else, to have you next year start looking around at what's available to you. I have a resource that, let's see, where did I put it? Oh, here we go. They're called Westways, and maybe there's something like this by you, but this is a publication that's out from AAA, and they do talk about really cool community things like this. And kind of towards the end, they have like current events, it's called, like this. And this says, 5 worth the drive. Stagecoach, California's Country Music Festival, the Bubble Fest, Wisteria Vine Festival, Avocado Festival, and they kind of tell where these different things are. One of them is, oh my gosh, how cool is this? The Discovery Science Center, April 4th through 19th. Oh, we just missed that. Boo. The Avocado Festival. Anyway, this is really cool because they have different kinds of really neat festivals and unusual type of affairs. You can have the days go by and get up and sleep and go to work and come home and do, go through the routine, or you can kind of spice things up and create memories of your life by doing unusual, fun things that expand your life. There's some people who get so wrapped up in what they do, and that's all they do, like if you always go camping, that really, I think you miss out on a lot of things. So anyway, I think it's cool to do different kinds of things and make new memories that way, and really, really enrich your life and enrich the lives of others. So I hope you enjoyed that review of the Easter sunrise service at Forest Lawn, Cypress. Thanks for watching. I'm Diane.